Hi. On the first day of 2026, I sat with a fellow alienated parent, and he was a childhood friend, devastated by years without contact from his son and daughter. And we sat at a coffee shop that was crowded and surrounded by other families. And our intention was to simply just sit and catch up with each other. But as you'd expect, discussion of the recent holidays was unavoidable, and there was a silent communication between us that only alienated parents can understand. If the eyes are windows to our souls, then you can easily see the insufferable grief and utter exhaustion we try to hide behind greetings and polite smiles. I'm much more fortunate than the vast majority of my friends in that my desperate wish for reunification was granted. I've experienced the indescribable heartbreak and innumerable tears experienced by these grief stricken parents, and though my friends wholeheartedly congratulate me, I avoid discussing my good fortune as their loneliness and grief painstakingly continues. But as I sat with him, I was compelled to share my quiet reality. Though I have been reunited for a few years now, there remains a constant sorrow as I search for ways to navigate the emotional drain of the disconnect between myself and the children I desperately pleaded to see again for years. Nothing could ever compensate or heal the pain of exile, and despite popular conception, some wounds cannot be healed with time. Visible scars may give the illusion that wounds may have healed, but the emotional exsanguination continues under the facade of acceptance and spiritual resolution. I was robbed of my God given right to have been a loving father, desperate to care for, guide, and protect my children. But equally devastating, my children were deprived of their inalienable right to a loving parent, extended family, and friends. They have suffered a gross and painful injustice, unresolved emotional trauma, and emotional torment. I refrain from seeking answers to my questions, they may never come, and I sit quietly and listen to the occasional insights they may briefly provide. I envy parents who can freely communicate with their children without the fear of being shut off and cast away once again. I envy the parents whose children independently seek interaction and conversation with them. While many families enjoy the holiday season, others suppress sadness and feign happiness as their gatherings seem obligatory and polite. The emotional deprivation exists for all involved as there was a reciprocal decade and a half of shattered dreams and uncertain and unanswered prayers. Over these past few days, I sat with another friend, unjustly crushed by divorce and the sinister family court syndicate. Yet another parent, and more children, forced to endure inhumane grief. I listened as she shared the different coping mechanisms of her daughter and son, and how she well knows and understands what it's like to live with a traumatized child. Though never physically alienated, she also describes a longing for the relationship she dreamed of having with her children. Later that same day, I spoke with a loving mother targeted by a vicious and ruthless ex husband whose alienation tactics were both unfathomable and indescribably cruel. She clings to the relationship with the one son who remains in defiance of his father's vicious tactics and does his best to foster a relationship with her. He suffers the same pain of every alienated child that this relationship with either the parent or his siblings must be kept in complete secrecy and non disclosure. Meanwhile, she smiles and laughs in public. She seems jovial and content. Then she goes to an empty apartment, sits alone, and cries until the mercy of exhaustion and sleep provides a few hours of respite. Then she awakens to repeat the hidden, painful facade. Like any of you, I truly long for serenity and peace, but I live amongst this exiled community. We are broken and exhausted. We are weary of our futile pursuit of happiness in the face of ubiquitous corruption and the propaganda of institutions and corrupt systems we gullibly accepted as honest and just. Despite our most sincere wishes, we cannot change the past. Our hopes and current day wishes may not come true or come to fruition, or the promise of tomorrow may never come. For many, it remains an illusion. I have these conversations each and every day, and each person wishes they were warned. Each of them has sought justice in life with peace. Each of them begs for compassion and comfort. The vast majority have lost faith in the empty promises of justice. In addition, they fear of speaking out. And I'll share a quick story with you that I was recently, well, not too recently, in a place called Toast. It's a breakfast place. And I had somebody walk up to me and he's like, Dr. Rivera. And I was quickly I was kind of lost. I couldn't place him. And I was like, hi. And thinking that I was probably his child's doctor, I said, how you been? And he's like, well, we never met, but I do want to thank you for your posts because they got me through some really rough times. And the interesting part was that, one, I never really thought that many people watch these at all. And two, he never commented or said anything. And he was anonymous to me. And as he spoke and told me how my post got him through a difficult time, and he shared my experiences with family court or parental alienation, I really started to think, like, okay, well, it did help somebody, so it was worth it. And that what I felt was the most painful experience of my life, I was able to help somebody else get through it. And I hope to continue that. And what I find is that people are reluctant to speak. They're afraid of anyone knowing something so painful that they're trying to hide. They fear that in speaking out, the courts will back react backlash against them, and they will. And I think that families like you need a voice, and I still look for people who are willing to publicly share their stories. I listen to you each and every day, and I do the best I can. But I think in unison, we can lead to a change when people finally realize they're not alone, and together we can force a change. So I hope that I can get some of you to join in and share your stories. Thank you.